Luckily, I only have 5 things to say. One, that informalism is massively a part of our society and our culture. That's one. 2, that we can distinguish between social, cultural, and psychological informalism. Social informalism I define as marginal and interstitial operations outside of the formal system of power, standards, and regulation, with weak articulation in general to the formal system. Cultural informality or informalism is the extension of the level of social informalism throughout the society to the extent that there is a continual fragmentation and undermining of institutional order. And psychological informalism is an attitude complex with an emphasis on individual expressiveness, spontaneity, impulsiveness, interpersonal face-to-face relations, emergent situational responsiveness, and weakened investment of the self in formal systems. So that's the second thing that I am saying. The third thing that I'm saying is that the general informalism that I talk about migrates on a daily basis into organizations, so that most of our organizations have to deal with this challenge of cultural, social, and psychological informalism. So that in the Caribbean, the demarcation between the informal and the formal organization is much more extensive and thoroughgoing. And it provides challenges for all sorts of organizational requirements. One of the things that happens, this is the fourth thing that I'm saying, is that the bureaucracy attempts to respond to the challenge of informalism. And it attempts to do that in a number of ways. And I've mentioned 5 ways. 1, it attempts to deal with informalism by being punitive. 2, it attempts to deal with it by creating more rules, so the bureaucracy ends up choking itself with its own rules. 3, it tries to drag on a daily basis a largely non-engaged workforce. 4, it becomes even more non-creative and non-responsive. And finally, the bureaucracy becomes the site for a further production, this time of a counter-informalism. The 5th thing that I am going to say is about how to solve this challenge, so that all that was said before about our collective self and so on and so forth. Of course, I don't agree with any of that. That Jamaica is a collectivist society and so on and so forth. The central challenge that we are saying is the challenge of moving from individual to collective activity. the central challenge is moving to a situation where we can work together and build successful teams. And this is not going to happen easily. But one of the suggestions that we are offering for research is about the development of expressive circles. And an expressive circle we define as a culturally sensitive construct or organizing principle built out of psychological informalism. It gives spontaneous and organized groups of persons in organizations opportunities to fully be themselves and to recognize both their defensiveness and their transcendental creativity. And in so doing, to connect and to reconnect with others and with collective goals and objectives. So those are my 5 things, and you are redundant in this particular presentation. I think I've more than made the points I want to make, and I'm well within time.